Welcome to First-Hand History, the way it was lived, not just remembered. Today we are traveling 15,000 years into the past, to an autumn reindeer camp beside the River Seine in what is now northern France. This is Pincevent near the end of the last ice age. Reindeer are moving through the valley, and several groups have gathered to meet them, but our story is not simply about the hunt. It is about what happens after the animals are brought back. Across the camp, the bones of a single reindeer will end up beside several different fires. At first, they appear to be scattered refuse. They are not. Their journey will reveal how food, skill, and labor connected this community. No witness recorded this day, and no personal name survives. What follows is a careful reconstruction built from hearths, stone flakes, damaged weapons, and animal bones preserved in unusually clear patterns. We will follow those traces through the camp. We will see how a successful hunt became food, equipment, and shared work, and how one broken animal allowed archaeologists to recover the hidden organization of an Ice Age community. The first stage probably takes place away from the residential area. A complete carcass is heavy and difficult to transport. Instead, people divide it and carry back selected sections worth the effort. Meat-bearing limbs and other useful parts arrive at the hearths. Their presence is not accidental. Long before the first cut is made inside camp, choices have already been made about weight, value, distance, and the labor available to carry it. Now a second operation begins. Meat must be removed. Joints must be separated. Long bones can be opened for marrow. Hides require attention, and hunting equipment used during the pursuit must be checked before it is needed again. This is not the work created by one animal alone. Across the weeks preserved in this occupation layer, the remains represent more than 70 reindeer. They were not killed in a single day, but their number reveals the scale of the seasonal gathering. Every carcass brings the same pressure. Some work cannot wait. Other tasks can be delayed. A useful part can become food, fuel for future labor, or material for equipment. Each decision creates another task for someone nearby. A successful hunt can therefore produce a problem of capacity. No individual can carry meat, cut hide, break bone, tend a hearth, repair a weapon, and shape new stone edges at the same time. The camp must divide more than the animal. It must divide the work. Pincevent is not a permanent village. People gather here during the autumn reindeer migration and remain for weeks, perhaps as long as a month. Then, the occupation ends and the groups move on. For now, several domestic areas are active together. Each is organized around a hearth. Some may belong to family-sized groups, although their exact relationships are unknown. Every fire becomes the center of a small and repeated pattern of work. Close to one hearth, stone flakes accumulate where tools are made. Near another, bones and cutting implements mark carcass processing. Small fragments fall beside the worker. Larger waste is moved farther away. The result is not a perfect diagram. People cross between fires. Materials change hands. Food, stone, tools, and heated rocks move through the camp. Yet, beneath this movement, separate working areas remain visible. Archaeologists call these communities Magdalenian. It is a modern label for people who lived across Western Europe near the end of the Ice Age. What the people of Pincevent called themselves has disappeared. Their skill has not. A block of flint preserves every stage of its reduction. The long blades removed from it record controlled strikes. The abandoned fragments preserve mistakes just as clearly. Some knappers produce highly regular blades. Others leave work that is less controlled. These differences reveal varying levels of experience, but not the identities or ages of the people behind them. Expertise does not remain beside a single hearth. Stone, flakes, and finished edges travel between working areas. A tool shaped in one part of the camp can enter a task being performed somewhere else. That movement matters because butchery punishes a cutting edge. Hide, tendon, and contact with bone gradually make it dull. The worker needs a fresh blade, a reshaped tool, or access to someone capable of producing a replacement. The hunting weapons create another cycle of maintenance. Pincevent has yielded antler projectile points and small flint components associated with hunting equipment. Some are complete, others are damaged or abandoned near the hearths. A broken point may be the result of use, repair, or a failed manufacture. The exact event is lost. The consequence is not. While one part of the camp processes the last hunt, another task prepares equipment for the next. Hide creates its own line of work. Archaeology confirms that it was processed here, but most finished organic objects have vanished. The evidence establishes the activity without revealing every garment, covering, or shelter that may have resulted from it. Bone and antler demand different decisions. Marrow-rich bones can provide valuable fat before their fragments are discarded. Antler can become material for future equipment. Not every piece is used, and the purpose of every surviving fragment cannot be recovered. The hunt may be the most dramatic moment, but survival depends on the chain surrounding it. Transport, cutting, fire, repair, technical skill, and coordination. If one link slows, unfinished work begins to collect around the hearths. And this returns us to the scattered reindeer from the opening. Food and labor are distributed across several fires. But does each group keep only the portion delivered to its own hearth? The bones preserve an answer. The camp left no rulebook. Archaeology cannot recover a conversation or identify the person who offered a share. It can, however, follow the physical movement of an animal after its death. At one hearth, a limb is processed. The meat is removed. A long bone is broken open for marrow. Once emptied, its fragments appear to have reached the end of their usefulness. But broken pieces retain their original shapes. Archaeologists can fit them back together. They can also pair bones from the left and right sides of the same animal. Fragment by fragment, a carcass begins to reassemble. At Pincevent, some of these matches connect bones found beside different hearths. Pieces belonging to one reindeer ended up in separate domestic areas across the camp. This is more revealing than simply finding large numbers of bones. It allows one animal to be followed through the settlement. A carcass brought back from the hunt did not always remain beside the first fire it reached. Some connections cross a substantial part of the occupied ground. Meat-bearing sections move between hearth areas, while other portions stay concentrated in particular places. The distribution has structure, even though its rules are gone. The evidence cannot show that every group received an equal share. It cannot reveal whether distribution followed kinship, obligation, hunting success, need, or an understanding that left no mark in the soil. It establishes something narrower but still remarkable. Parts of individual animals were distributed among working groups. Food moved through Pincevent, just as stone, tools, skill, and labor moved through it. The value of a successful hunt, therefore, extended beyond the moment of the kill. One group might receive part of an animal, while people at other hearths supplied the edges, repairs, fire, time, or knowledge required to process it. Pincevent operates as a network. A blade produced in one area can be used in another. A carcass portion can cross the camp. A damaged weapon can become the next task taken up beside a different fire. No heroic speech is preserved, and none is required. Cooperation appears in movement. A heated stone carried away. A flint edge passed between work areas, and the divided bones of one reindeer lying beside several hearths. Eventually, the autumn gathering ends. People carry away equipment that remains useful. Light structures disappear. Organic material decays, and later floods cover parts of the abandoned camp with fine sediment. What survives is incomplete. Hearthstones, flint, pigment, bone, antler, and the precise position of one object beside another. At Pincevent, location becomes evidence as important as the objects themselves. During excavation, researchers map the occupation's surface in detail. They reconnect flakes to the blocks from which they were struck. They join fractured hearth stones. They match bones separated when an animal was processed. Refitting allows the camp to run backwards. A flint flake returns to its original core. A stone carried to another fire rejoins its missing piece. A reindeer limb comes together again after 15,000 years. This is not a photograph of one complete day. Archaeology cannot assign every task, reconstruct every shelter, or recover the conversations that took place around the fires. Much of life here remains beyond reach, but the surviving patterns preserve relationships. Hunting, technical expertise, workload, repair, and food distribution each leave a different trace on the same ground. Together, they reveal not isolated individuals, but a community in motion. An Ice Age day is often imagined as a struggle against cold, dangerous animals and an unforgiving landscape. At Pincevent, the deeper story is quieter, skilled work repeated across many hands, with each hearth connected to the next. The people left no written names, but the bones of one reindeer crossed their camp, remained beneath the earth, and fitted together again. 15,000 years later, that broken animal still preserves the shape of their cooperation,